All right. All right. So I wanted to hop on here and just share my experience so far. Um, Day 3, Prolon fasting mimicking diet. It's the first time I try it, right in the middle of it. And today, what I learned, actually, it was yesterday on day 2. I don't think I had a chance to hop on. But on day 2, I never thought I would be saying this, but I really missed the kale crackers. So on day 1, you get kale crackers, you get 2 breakfast bars, you get your chocolate crisp bar after dinner time, you get your 2 soups and some teas. But as you move through, when I'm looking at the day card, I didn't see that you actually start weaning down. So on day 2 and day 3 that I'm on, you don't get the second kind of nut bar, the breakfast bar. So you don't have that. On day 3, I'm missing the chocolate bar. But the way that this program has gone, my honest thoughts about it is there's definitely some pros and there's definitely some cons. So the pros is going to be this. I mentioned in another video, I'm doing this with my team, and so Dr. Lim, my business partner, my father, he's hopping on this, and he loves it. Right, so he loves this. He's never really practiced fasting before, or even much more than say an 8-hour intermittent fasting schedule, and so he loves it just because it's so simple. So I consider this kit to be awesome for on the pro side. Anyone who is wanting to jump in, practice fasting, practice intermittent fasting, and has maybe never done it before. Because it gives you just a laid out plan. You're still eating throughout this. You get about 1,100, 1,200 calories on day 1. And by day 5, I think you're down to about 700 to 800 calories. So you're not completely, classically fasting per se, but it does give you kind of this regiment. And for anyone out there, and I work with a lot of clients like this, that's also part of why they hire me. And I work with a lot of clients that maybe don't have the time or the motivation, or they just don't want to go through learning how to all the nuances and ins and outs of intermittent fasting and cooking foods, and a lot of that going on. Some of them want to be spoon fed. So with that being said, I think something like Prolon and having everything laid out for the entire 5 days can be great for those types of people, right? Different things for different people at different times. That's really what functional medicine is really all about. And here's the thing. Try it. I'm a big believer, before you read too many reviews, before you take any expert's advice on something, try it for yourself. That's my biggest thing. Is I don't like to talk crap on anything. I don't like to hype anything until really I try it for myself. And then second, once I actually run through a half a dozen or a dozen so patients on whatever it is, then I'll come away with more of a concrete kind of opinion about things. So um, let's go back to day 2. Honestly, I'm a medium picky eater. But with that, so far everything in this program has tasted really good. I throw the teas in the water. The glycerin, now glycerin and the glycerol drink that you add to this, I think for hydration purposes, it can help stimulate gluconeogenesis, which could probably which does bring up your glucose levels. Um, I imagine Walter Longo is doing that for people that obviously are new to fasting, and maybe if their blood sugars are dropping, that could be a good aspect of it. Sometimes when I'm having people that have never practiced before, yeah, if you do an extended fast, you can get dizzy. You're not always aware of, let me take down my activity, let me bring down my exercise. And maybe they're already a very anxious, high energy type of person and they don't back off during their fast. Yeah, you could crash, you could get dizzy, you can get nauseous, these types of things. So I can see that a lot of thought, a lot of process has gone into this. And again, on the pro side, very helpful for beginners. So Someone like my dad who's never practiced too much of this. I'm going to send it to my mom, see how she does it. I got a handful of patients that want to jump into this, and so I'm going to look for their feedback. And again, like I mentioned on a previous video about Prolon, just get a lay of the land to see who this would really benefit, who probably might get more benefit doing some other approaches, and just kind of knowing who to give this to, so to speak. That's ultimately why I want to do it. All right. So yeah, going back to it on day 2, everything tasted good except, like I mentioned, I missed out on the kale crackers, and I never thought I would say that. And then I got the crackers back today, and that was a big difference. On the con side of things, let me say this. This is still for me, each soup right here, you're getting 24 grams of carbs. So I imagine between the bars, the 2 soups, we're probably sitting at about 60 to 80 grams of carbs, something like that. And my experience having done water fast, juice fast, intermittent fasting, prolonged, and now Prolon fasting, is this. With a little bit of this is feels a little bit more like calorie restriction. So when I sit between the, say, 500 to 1200 calorie range, what it does for me in practice is I feel like I have this 10 to 20% hunger throughout the day. Now this is taking out obviously health results and benefits and how much weight people lose and all of that. Let's set that aside for a second. In just practice, I find calorie restrictive diets typically are a little bit harder because that hunger is always there, and you got to deal with that. As opposed to, say, something like getting fat adapted on an intermittent fasting schedule. Before this, I could go Monday through Friday. I indefinitely. I could go, but usually I'd go Monday through Friday and do 2 meals, or even an OMAD day, just 1 meal at dinner time. And throughout the day, once I was adapted to that and I had proper nutrition at dinner time, throughout the day, I'm just buzzing along. I don't have that hunger that kind of catches your attention. It makes you want to snack on things, that type of stuff. To that, man, I just the practice of that to me is so much easier. It feels better. And then guess what? When you get home, you get to have that nice big meal, and intermittent fasting, even 1 meal a day, doesn't necessarily mean calorie restriction. A lot of times I'd go home and have 1,000 to 2,000 calorie meal, just for dinner. So, I wasn't really restricting myself other than just restricting the timing I was consuming calories and eating really anything other than some water and electrolytes and maybe some bone broth here and there, black coffee, that type of stuff. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, again, different things for different people. I know some people like, because I've worked with people on different diets and different diabetics, and some people really do like more of the calorie restriction because at least they get to eat a little bit, and then when they're in that place, maybe they're having something every 3, 4, 5 times throughout the day, and they like that balance, right? For the people that I find in that place, oftentimes may have never gotten fully adapted, have never tried more of the prolonged fasting. And if you have tried that, you may have hit a wall in the beginning. You may not have gotten to that point where you passed the line into the promised land, so to speak, where, wow, you're feeling the benefits, feel your body adapting to the new schedule. And for anyone out there that wants to try this or try other fasting and prolonged fasting, if you have questions, shoot me any of those questions. But what I recommend is, yes, try this. See how you do it. Maybe it's a great intro for you. On the other side of things, just get mentally prepared that it can take a week, it can take a month for you to get fully adapted to a new eating schedule and intermittent fasting schedule. There's a lot of tips and tricks you can do to kind of help yourself along the way, but most of it is mental, is not selling yourself short before you get there, before you see the results. I say this all the time. It'd be like you going to the gym for the first time, exercising with a trainer, and that trainer has you work out at 90% for 2 hours. Then the next couple days, you're so sore, you're in so much pain, and you just opt out from going to the gym. You give up. You think the gym's not for me. I was in so much pain. I can't possibly keep doing that. And what people who go through that maybe don't think about is that's not how it is all the time. Is what you should do is ramp up, ease into it, and eventually as your body grows and adapts and gets stronger, that you're not really running into those issues. You don't necessarily have to go home every day and you're so sore you can't sit on the toilet, right? However, if you opt out, if you never allow your body to grow and get stronger and stay consistent, then you'll never really reach and experience those benefits. So same thing with fasting. Start easy, be consistent, try different approaches that work for you. And I always another thing I like to tell clients is you want to practice a strategy that works for you. Okay. Bringing up my dad again. He's not a chef. His wife cooks everything and is an awesome chef, makes a bunch of wonderful Korean food. But if I told him to do maybe intermittent fasting or eat a certain way, he's always been a little lackluster with it because it's some skills he's never had. So when I hand him a box like this where everything is spelled out and he's taking his little notes and checking off boxes as he completes it, he loves it. Loves the taste, loves the practice, and he's not worried about being perfect. Just likes he's always in a mindset of progression, right? So if you're in that place, you're still needing some skills and asking those questions, then yeah, I'd say something like great for you and get you in the swing of things, just like that. The first thing you should do when you start a gym membership is just show up. That's all you should worry about. And this is a great way to help people just show up. Um, I do have some ideas on what could be better. I do think some of these things certainly could be, I'd say a lot of the marketing is promoting not altering or changing this protocol, not making the foods yourself or buying the individual ingredients yourself. However, I think that's a little bit of marketing protection. I think that's trying to obviously promote and get this into a lot more people's hands or even into medical practices. But I do feel if you are practiced and you are experienced, that you can create similar and great results, probably for cheaper, and also using a little bit better ingredients and sources of these nutrients, right? Anyone can look up the fasting mimicking protocol and recreate some of those macros as well. Now, what I as a disclaimer, if you are doing that, keep in mind I said you're experienced, you're practiced, and what that might mean is you've done a few 48-hour water fasts. Maybe you've done some 72 hours, some 3 days. You can do an OMAD day, no problem, and you're not having any issues like crashing or energy, uh, extreme hunger, those types of things. Then I'd say, yeah, like if I were to do this again, other than the fact that it's just very easy and everything's all in a box for you, that recreating this under my own protocol, not protocol, following the protocol or following a similar protocol, but getting my own ingredients and making my own soups and multivitamin and these types of things. That's very possible. Okay, very very possible. But as the company would say, and as I'll repeat here, don't diminish. Let's put it this way. Let's not underplay a packaged, easy, formulaic thing to follow. I think that creates a lot of value for some people. And when you don't have to think this or that, up and down, what's left, when do I do that? How do I buy all these ingredients? That, again, this can be super valuable. So I just wanted to share that. I like the chocolate bar, like the kale crackers. Oh, another con. I am not an olive person. I am getting these olives down. I had to mix the olives in the soup and just kind of eat it super quick and then enjoy the rest of the soup. But if you are not an olive person, what I recommend is definitely that is I put them right in the soup. I eat it, chew, swallow quickly. Um, and I'm eating it more obviously for the fat content. It will tide you over better. Even though I got that low grade hunger. But I wanted to throw that out there. Is today I don't have any olives, so no olives on day 3. But day 2, you get 2 packages of it, one with the salt and one with the seasoning. The seasoning helped a little bit, but again, another thing to think about if you are not a olive person. All right, you guys. So if anyone ends up seeing this, I know my channel is new. I don't really have too many people showing up, but I am going to be more active. I am going to do my best to provide more insights and value and health tips about how I help patients with functional medicine. So if you have any questions, make sure to hit that subscribe. Leave some questions in the comment section, and you can also find me on Instagram at functionalmeddoc. Yeah, so stay healthy, you guys. Take care.